Unhinged is directed by Derek Bort or Borte.
Not really well known.
Yeah. It stars Russell Crowe, Karen Pistorius, Gabriel Bateman, and Jimmy Simpson, among others. And in this film, it tells the story of a woman that's basically, as you read from the trailers, she's pretty much getting followed and getting stalked pretty much by Russell Crowe's character, who's a guy that's experiencing a lot of road rage going through the city and stuff, and it deals with him pretty much dealing with in a mentally unstable state to where he ends up having to take his anger out on others around him and stuff.
Yeah. So basically, that's basically the plot. There's a lot more to it. With there's a lot of backstory with Russell Crowe's character. He had something tragically with his life, which brings into context with the plot of the story, which we follow the mom and the son, who the mom is she's pretty much an irresponsible woman, going through a lot of her own troubles and
being late,
and
on the road
losing a job,
yeah.
and her kids got to get to school. She just recently was divorced, and she's going through a lot of problems, and she ends up pissing the wrong dude off, as you see in the trailers, and I'll tell you right now, it turns into like The Hitcher.
Yeah, the original from the 80s. And now, here's some backstory. Now, this movie was directed by the guy who directed a movie I saw back when it came out called The Joneses. It was with David Duchovny and Demi Moore. I remember enjoying that one when I watched it, but it's been a while. But after seeing the trailers for this movie, it got me really interested because I figured maybe that it was going to be just your typical, maybe just standard, one-of-the-mill type of crazy person that's, going after somebody and stuff, and that basically it'd be Russell Crowe having some fun playing this really mean kind of guy.
Yeah.
But and keep in mind too, this was also going to be the first movie that originally was going to come out in theaters back in July to be the first test, since we've been going through the coronavirus and everything, to be testing the theaters coming back reopen. Got delayed because they still had to keep pushing it back due to theaters not opening, and for the first time in 5 months, me and him have finally been able to go back to the theater. Our theater has finally opened back up with safety precautions, of course. But it was a blessing because after upon seeing the film in the theater and the movie on its own, it was definitely worth it.
Yeah, when I first saw the trailers, and we're seeing this trend now, which I'm actually taking a liking in, and we're starting to see people use songs in remixes.
Yeah.
And we saw it with Candyman, we saw it with the new Batman trailer coming out with Robert Pattinson, we saw it in this. Yeah. And it's funny because Robert Pattinson and this both had Nirvana.
Yeah. No, this had Blue Oyster Cult, the cover for Don't Feed the Reaper.
The trailers I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
The trailer had the doom 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 doom, that one song da na 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 na. It's a
I know.
song.
Yeah, that's right.
It was that, I forgot the name of that.
I forgot.
But that was the trailer, but without the singing, but it had the beat, and it was basically like we got with Robert Pattinson's Batman. It was the same thing. But anyways, that's just the music. But yeah, seeing Russell Crowe in this, what's really canny is a lot of people have that know about actors when they get in a bunch of bullshit. It was kind of funny that they casted Russell Crowe in this because there was years ago that there was a trend where TMZ was it was a big story where Russell Crowe was known for getting into road raging, and he actually was like Alec Baldwin, where he was getting in fist fights. It would show him like one time, I guess he got into like an altercation at a light or something, got out of his car and fucking punched the dude.
Oh,
and
shit.
so there was a big deal about the character. So people thought that was kind of fucking awesome that Russell Crowe was like, I'll do it. I did it in real life. I'll fucking play this movie. Yeah. So when I saw the trailers, I was like, wow, this looks interesting. Russell Crowe, it's like cool seeing somebody that would probably go to this level. He'd do like more like A Beautiful Mind or Gladiator, and he's going to do something kind of for the fans, for like people that like this type of genre.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was a little hold back because a lot of times these road rage or this after the meal character of our protagonist, they usually don't go for the violence. It's PG-13 and it's really just standard.
Like that one you watched called Kidnapped.
Yeah, so I've seen too many of these to even put my trust in this, but I was optimistic. And I will say, upon seeing the film, I cannot believe how good this movie was. Like, this actually stunned me in wow, they really tried on this one.
Yeah, they
so
did.
I was like,
absolutely.
oh yeah, I'm gonna say this. I absolutely I like this movie. It was really good.
I did too. It was a quite a surprise for me. Like I always kind of figured, going into it was going to be not only Russell Crowe still in the whole movie itself, but it was beyond more than that than I thought it would be, and I was actually really surprised. It really held my attention. It was intense. It went beyond what I thought it was.
Yes. Getting into my pros, I will say that Russell Crowe, holy shit. Man, I mean, he's obvious the scene stealer here. This dude is fucking mean.
He is.
Brutal. And he does not fucking hold back. It almost like I was watching another version of Rutger Hauer in fucking Hitcher.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that it was as good as that movie, because that's a classic in the making. It's hard to top something that good and in that kind of way. But I will tell you, he didn't want to be Rutger Hauer, but he did his own version of his own. But it was intense, like Rutger Hauer's character.
It was,
and I couldn't believe that it was how much work they literally put into something I thought was going to be standard. Russell Crowe just would the shit he does in this film. My God,
yeah,
he doesn't fucking hold back.
I agree. Like, not only is he intimidating as fuck, especially in scenes where he's not only taunting characters in the film, but the way he plays it off and say, "You're about to have one bad day," and all that, but just the mayhem that he goes through the film and the limits that he will not stop. They really. I mean, they don't dig a whole lot deep, but they really show a guy that's mentally unstable can go through something like this.
Yeah, and I liked I thought the film was going to go for like a more settled approach on like the story. Oh, you pissed me off at the light, and then it's just going to, because you're just going to learn to say sorry and all that stuff. But people, there's actually a deep theme, kind of like synopsis that I don't want to spoil to you, that is played in this film, and it actually makes sense because it's what broke him to become this mayhem character, and it falls into our actual character or protagonist we follow, which is the girl. And man, boy, that makes a lot of sense on a lot of things, why he sees that and it pisses him off even more.
Absolutely.
That makes him like fucking crazy. And what I really liked was like a lot of the films other than Hitcher, a lot of the films they kind of just did the meal where the character is afraid to get caught or get killed, whatever. But Russell Crowe is wanting to die, like Rutger Hauer's character.
Yeah.
He's doing this, so he does shit. It makes more sense in a daylight. People ask, why is he doing this shit? A real person wouldn't do this because he might get caught. It's in daylight. He doesn't give a fuck. What happened to him at the beginning of the film, when you see it, you could see that he just lost all care. He's ready to fucking just lose it. And he's not looking to kill himself. He's becoming more of a saint or a speaker, so to speak, like a god.
Yeah.
A guy playing God and doing shit and teaching people a lesson, kind of like Jigsaw in a way, but like a Hitcher type of vibe. It's
more equivalent to not on the same type of level, but it takes very similar like mannerisms or matters with the way he does it, similar to Michael Douglas's character from Falling Down. How he pretty much went he lost it, and he pretty much he tried to teach society a lesson, basically.
Yeah, and everybody else's performance was good. I'll tell you that the actress for a movie like this, you think they give you just a standard alright performance, good. Yeah. But I will say that she looked like she was really traumatized in this film, and I will give her a lot of credit for that. There was times where Russell Crowe just went so fucking far, and she just can't handle the stress, and she pukes and is going through anxiety attacks and shit like that, and she's so fucked up. And they really try to dig a lot deep. What they did with 1 hour and 30 minutes, I was impressed. Yeah, I was really impressed. In fact, I would have loved to see them do more. What they could, added more time to this movie. It was a thrill. I had a blast. It was very entertaining. And one thing that I was really impressed with was, oh my god, I didn't expect this movie to be this fucking brutal.
Oh, absolutely. Like, they don't hold back. I kind of figured going into it, maybe it was just going to be
PG-13.
Yeah. Well, no, it would still be R, but like they won't show much of what they can do with it. No, they don't hold back. They do some brutal shit, and I'll tell you right now, not to spoil anything, but this has like the most like, as far as car crashes and stuff like that, as far as mayhem on the highways and just car crash general. This is almost up there with like Final Destination 2 on that type of level.
Yeah, so like there's a lot of sayings. He just does not give a fuck. He's just causing so much fucking mayhem. It's literally becoming the topic of the city. So he's almost like causing havoc just off of a small situation.
Yeah.
And I like that. I was like, wow, because he just doesn't give a fuck. And you saw in the diner scene in the trailers, man, I'm like, fucking Jesus Christ, and these people are fucking scared. And I will tell you, Russell Crowe is really intimidating in this film.
He is.
And it worked. It worked to perfection. They didn't hold back on him. And there's a thing he does in this film, man, with children and stuff, like, you'll see, it's like, man, this motherfucker don't even give a shit.
Yeah, that's
he'll literally just go to a fucking... He's the type of guy that is so nuts, and what that happens in the film, he would literally probably walk up to a 5-year-old and twist their neck and kill him. Like, this guy just plays with them, and I love the games he played with this girl. He really fucking psychologically fucks her up. He don't want her to die. He wants her to suffer and see the pain. And he holds back on hurting her. Well, he hurts her, but he doesn't want to kill her. But he wants to fuck her mind up bad, and he'll like do like, not spoiling anything, just something small to throw in there. Example, he plays Russian roulette in her fucking phone, because you see in the trailer he has the phone. And he's like basically saying, you're going to go down, I'm going to go down this list, and each one of them is going to die.
Yeah, you got to choose which one.
Yeah, and you got to choose which one. And then she'll choose right, and sometimes he'll do like a rope-a-dope, and it will be another person just so he doesn't get caught, because he wants to continue fucking mind fucking her.
Yeah.
And that makes me think of Hitcher, because that's what Hitcher did. He tried to not kill the guy. I'm talking about the original. Fuck the remake. What he did to C. Thomas Howell, he wanted him to live to see how much he could fucking psychologically screw him up. That's what they did with this. Smart fucking idea. I give them a lot of credit. The director and the writer. They did. It wasn't a hold back movie, and I'm really, I was impressed with it.
I did too, and almost in a way, it's almost like, even though it's not a remake, it's what the remake we could have gotten as the Hitcher if you did it as a more remake in terms of similar structure and reimagining, so to speak.
Yeah.
So it actually, in a way, to me, I think goes best with a companion piece with that film.
Yeah.
And I got to appreciate too, like the score I thought was pretty haunting as well. It definitely gets you in the mood. And it's just like every scene where it's just all, like them driving and stuff, I'm like, man, I wonder, because there's actually, what's cool about the direction in some parts is that you don't know like which side Russ Crowe is like coming in on, because it actually plays tricks on where she's driving off somewhere and you think he's basically
there's a very intense scene where for the most part there's some kind of like way he's tracking her, because you're wondering how big is New Orleans, because it happens in New Orleans, Louisiana. That's where they live. How's he able to find? And of course, you could predict the whole tracking thing. But then there's a part where like they're literally like he kind of doesn't have that ability, but he knows the vicinity, and they give you that kind of intense feel where she's going through this neighborhood and he's going through the same neighborhood, and you feel like they're going to collide or be there, and it holds it in such a good manner that it becomes really an intense scene, and they did a very good job at that. Yeah. So with that being said, I don't want to spoil much for you guys. So when we get there is a couple flaws I do have, and it's mainly what you've heard from other critics who kind of was disappointed on one little thing. I will say that I wouldn't go as far as say they went way over the top. I disagree. I thought they showed what a guy who doesn't give a fuck would do, because people can become very brutal. In today's world, people are nuts.
Yeah, they can.
So the over top people are saying it's so over the top. No, it's not. I believe what he did was brutal, and it's doable.
It made sense.
It's doable because he had all her contacts.
It's believable in that regard.
However, there were some things that that bothered me a little bit, just a little tiny bit, but it did piss me off. It was just cons. It was more like a character dumbass moment you see in movies, and there's a scene where she could have literally probably saved the whole entire time, and especially when it was narrowed down to her and her son, and just really drive to the police department.
The whole time.
We're talking about a city that has like precincts, so I doubt he's going to take on like 500 fucking police, force, the whole fucking police force.
Right.
We're not a small town. This is New Orleans. So, boom, movie over. We'll catch the guy eventually down the road. So, our character doesn't let that have an option. They just go to an area where they're vulnerable at the last climax, which kind of damn near cost their fucking lives. And I thought that was a dumb character move, and it was a stupid movie trope in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I get what they were kind of going for with it on a movie standpoint, but if you're going for a more logictivity of more, as I say, grounded, if they went a more realistic approach, they would have had it to where she went to the police station.
Yeah.
The other thing I will say, too, is that there are points where you could say that some of the points where some of the, like, people that he's passing by and stuff, they maybe probably could have had like bystanders get out of their cars and shoot the bastard or something.
It'd be in the South. I will tell you right now, we're in the South, and we're just a state above Louisiana. He wouldn't get really all that far, so to speak, what he was doing. And logically, there's a lot of people that would help, a situation, especially whenever that diner scene. I mean, there were some pretty, there were some obvious big Stone Cold Steve Austin looking guys that were sitting around, and I had a hard time believing, like, would really everybody be that scared of one guy doing that? Because I would think those group of construction workers that look like all look like Goldberg and stuff would be big enough. Fuck, they would probably steamroll that motherfucker and knock his ass out. I mean, I've seen situations on video. I mean, it happens a lot. People become saviors, and you would think in scenes like that, I mean, believable-wise, he wouldn't have been able to keep doing what he was doing to that guy and sitting there for a while and talk without somebody going, boom, knocking him out, or somebody going, boom, shoot his ass, and then boom, he's arrested.
Right.
Shit like that.
But for the purpose of the plot, it didn't bother me too much. But I could see if it would be more believable if that was to happen, so to speak. But I can bypass because I suspended my suspension of disbelief.
And I would have wished, I like the ending because they gave us that scare approach. There could have been a sequel. Well, then it was just fucking with you. But I thought it was clever. But then there was something I wish they would have gave a little bit more closure on somebody else. But other than that, I really don't have any other cons of this film.
Yeah.
I think this movie was extremely entertaining, and I was actually walked out of the theater thinking, wow, this wasn't a standard movie. This was a very enjoyable film. Absolutely. And I love Russell Crowe, man. Thank you for doing something like this.
Absolutely. I highly enjoy it to a lot, and I'm glad to see there are movies like this that still get released that give you those type of run and gun thriller type movies that
don't hold back,
and they're fun to watch, and they show a lot of the intimidation, especially when you have actors like this that go for it. And I hope Russell Crowe does more stuff like this because I've seen him in other films where he can be that kind of tough guy type of approach, like Nice Guys or LA Confidential. This is the first one I've seen where he truly goes fucking like all out, like he's so vicious.
When I say he's mentally unstable and a psychopath killer, that's an understatement in this film.
Yeah.
Because oh my God, you just got to see this. I recommend this film. And with that being said, I'm going to give this film a high compelling grade on the Film Phreeks meter.
Absolutely, I agree with you. A high compelling grade on the Film Phreeks meter as well. So we thank you so much for watching, and for those of you who have also seen Unhinged, let us know in the comments below what you thought about it, and stay safe, and we'll see you in our next review.
All right,
we'll see you later.
Later.